Welcome back, everyone, to episode 6 of the P&B Show. And today my guests are Arun and Natalia from The Amazing Race Season 33. And I'm joined here with my co-host, Benjamin Ramsey. How are you guys?
Doing great.
Awesome.
Thanks for having me.
No problem. Thank you for joining. I just want to jump in and ask, what made you both want to apply to be on The Amazing Race?
Yeah, so we've been watching the show together since I was 8 years old. So literally have not missed a season. And so it's been one of our favorite shows growing up. And in 2016, I had actually applied with my then fiance, my now husband. And I ended up getting a call from casting 3 years later. So totally had forgotten about our audition. And so honestly, I thought the call was like spam initially because it's like, what is this? And it turned out to be legit and they were interested. But my fiance at the time, he couldn't get off a month off work. Okay. And so my dad found out and he's like, well, tell them I'm available. Like, well, I'll do it. Yeah. Are they in like a father-daughter team? And they loved him. So we ended up going through the audition process after that. But he was actually really mad that.
No. Let me tell. Actually, she's only telling you half the story. So we've been watching the show, like she said, right from first episode. We have never missed an episode. So we've always said, hey, let's audition, let's send a tape. And she had kept telling me, okay, Dad, we'll do it. But then I later find out that she had sent the audition tape with her fiance and never told me about it. So I was like, she literally screwed me because she didn't do it with me, but she sent it with her fiance. But anyway, the overall doing, finally it worked out good. So I told her, can you call the producers and see if my dad can go? They asked us to send some photographs, and then we went through the audition process, and then we were on the race. The one thing I always told her, see, if I didn't ask her to call the producer, we would have never been on the show. So I made her call the producers and send the photographs, and that's how we got on the show.
That's awesome. Now, in between the time that you did the audition and waiting, I mean, just to see if you would get accepted, how did you guys prepare for it?
Actually, what happened is we really didn't have much time. So once we went through the audition, it takes a couple of weeks for them to let us know that we are going to be on the race. And once they called us to tell us we were on the race, and the time the race started, it was only 4 or 5 weeks, correct, Natalia?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. So we didn't have too much time. So it was, yeah. We were in the last round of audition, so there was different rounds, and we were the one right before they were going to start filming. And so once we found out, we're like, oh no, we got to start like getting in shape and like start packing, because they don't even give you like a packing list or anything. So you got to do your research and really figure out like, what are you going to bring in this one backpack that you can take.
I also wonder, how do you prepare for something like this? Like you have no idea what's going to happen, what the roadblocks are going to be like. Like, do you guys know where you're going, like all the destinations? Did you just know the first one when you were going on? And
we don't even know till you get the first clue to see which country you're going to go to. And then from then on, you never know, especially in this season. We didn't even know where we were going because we had chartered flights. So once we landed in the airport, then we seen which flags or immigration when we started. That's only time we knew which country we were. Forget about which city. We didn't even know which country we were in.
That's crazy. And yeah, so back to what I was saying, how do you prepare for that, right? Like that was off to London that you guys went, right? And now the first 3 episodes were pre-COVID. So I mean, you guys were doing public transportation and things like that, right?
Yeah.
And was it, correct me if I'm wrong, Dusty and Ryan that you met first at the airport?
Yeah, so we landed in Chicago. So we actually flew from Detroit to Chicago. And the first team we saw was Dusty and Ryan.
What's the relationship here?
Childhood friends since 24 years, roughly.
Yeah.
And during the audition process, or like before you start the race, you do like kind of onboarding. They go over the rules and things like that. So we had seen all the teams, but you can't talk to them. So we don't know who these people are. So Dusty and Ryan were the first team we met in Chicago. And the first thing Ryan says, he's like, I've been wrongly imprisoned for 10 years. And we're like, whoa.
I was actually wrongfully convicted of a crime I didn't commit. When I was 19, they arrested me for murder of a person that I had never seen. I thought, okay, you're gonna interrogate me, and then I'm gonna go home and take midterms. I didn't go home for a decade.
Like, we're just regular people, and like we were meeting these teams, and they just have these like incredible, inspiring stories. And we're like, did we get cast on the wrong season? Like, all these people are just so incredible.
Yeah.
But them, and then Mike and Mo, we had met after, and then they were like, yeah, we're the singing cops. We were on Ellen.
Please welcome officers Michael Norwood and Mo Badger.
So like they did this great story too. So it was kind of intimidating at first because we're like, look at all these teams with these like really inspiring stories here.
Yeah, and I wonder how like the casting crew picks the teams, because it was everyone like kind of like joined together, right? Like you had Mike and Mo who had been on Ellen, Penn and Kim who do YouTube, and it was like kind of like a perfect cast.
No, what I think this season was basically people who have done some inspiring work, or they've made a difference in the community. Raquel and Kayla and Natalia and me were the only normal people. So everybody else were already famous, or they've done something in their lives, like Akbar and Sherry. They are into schooling, and he's the principal of a high school. Everybody had done something, and we were the only normal people. So I think this season was more about have they made a difference in the society and inspiring stories and things like that.
Now, Ben, I want to ask you a question. Would you have ever thought, or have you thought about applying to like a reality show like this?
Yeah, I really have. I've been really quiet about it, but I really have been applying.
It's, I mean, you never know what's going to happen, right? Like, what shows have you?
What shows have you applied for, Ben?
Oh, I don't even know. Like, I know a couple of them have been on Paramount Plus. I think I applied for Next Influencer. I applied for that. No, it's not. I know I did that. It's just been like these random shows. Most of them are on like MTV, Paramount Plus, but shows like that.
Yeah. Now, Arun, Natalia, have you applied for other shows in the past, or are you planning on anything in the future?
That was the only show we've ever applied for, was Amazing Race. We applied once and got on the show, but you never know. If they call us back, we would definitely go back on the Amazing Race.
Actually, I have applied for was it not MasterChef? What is the? Yeah, it's a MasterChef. Yeah, MasterChef. And then I did get called back, but I couldn't go for some odd reason. So I couldn't go. I think I was traveling or something like that, so I couldn't go. But we definitely want to be. I mean, I want to be on Survivor for sure. So
I've applied for Survivor in the past. Yeah, it's crazy if you were to get a call back, and you never know what's going to happen, right? Like. I'll apply for fun and see what happens, basically. So once you guys got your call back from Phil, who knew? Because I know you couldn't, I mean, you can't tell anyone while you're filming or even after filming, but who knew leading up to you guys leaving?
Yeah, so we were able to tell our families. So they signed NDAs, so the non-disclosures and everything. So they knew. So my mom knew, my husband knew as well. And then also for work, they had to sign an NDA because I had to get a month off work.
Yeah.
So yeah, they had to know. And so they were all excited. But besides that, you can't tell anyone. And so it's funny because they go through and they do like background checks. So a lot of our friends were getting these like background check calls, and they're like, are you joining the FBI? Like, why are we getting all these strange calls? Like, so I'm such a bad liar too. So we had to make up some story like, yeah, I'm going to like Europe for work. So I'm off the grid for a little bit. But yeah, we couldn't tell anyone else.
So I'm going to jump a little. And once you started filming, then you had to go home for 18 months and then come back.
Watch Corona crush our race. This means global fear. Out of here. Races off for a year. Sit at home and sit at home and sit at home until late in 2021. We flew back to get it done.
Ben, do you think you could have kept something like this a secret, even for the 18 months or the 2 months after filming?
That would be really hard. I'd be like, yeah, I'm leaving. Wait, can I even say I'm leaving? Oh, I don't think I can.
I mean,
if you have a good story or like some kind of lie,
you have to make up a good story. That's just the way it is, because they don't play around. The NDA, what you sign is like a $10 million NDA. So it's not like because there's a lot at stake, correct? They've invested a lot of money. They have gone through the whole process. They just don't want everybody to know what's going on about the season. So you really don't have an option, but just because you've signed the NDAs.
And how difficult was it for the both of you to keep things a secret during the 18 months or after you the show finished?
For me, it was not an issue at all. So, but Natalia did. Natalia, were you able to keep the secrets, Natalia?
I did. It wasn't actually bad for me either. I think the fact that we could tell like my mom and my husband, those are pretty much the people that we could talk to. Like if it was like the only person I could talk to was my dad, then maybe it would be a little bit harder. At least we had like a couple other people and then like my supervisor at work. So it wasn't because people didn't know about it. So it was like fine to kind of.
And I feel like it would be harder for like Kim and Penn to keep it a secret from their kids. Compared to like a team who got eliminated in the first leg. I feel like it would be a little bit harder to keep a secret that you won. So talk to us and tell the viewers about your experience in London, as well as what was your opinion about starting in London, and like have you been there before? Did you know what you guys were doing? Just give us a background about that whole experience.
We both have been to London before, so we've actually been, I've been twice. I think Natalia, you've been there once. So the race, the thing is that one thing about Amazing Race is you never know what you're in for. So we got into our cabs, then we had to go to London and go to Trafalgar Square and find our next clue. So that's how the race started. And once the race starts, your mind starts going in all, you're so stressed out. You don't want to be the first team to get eliminated. So literally, the truth is that once the race starts, you're just running and running.
I want to ask, right before you guys were able to start, and Phil said like basically go and start the first leg. What went through your minds? Like, was it kind of like, okay, I'm here now, like this is what I've been wanting to do, or was it like really stressful? And then when he said go, you like, it was like, oh, okay, we're starting now, basically.
I think it was just a big adrenaline rush because it was interesting because I think this has only been done once before, but we started from our homes. So we were starting with our families around. So it was like, once we left, we're like in the cabs heading to like our home airport. We're like, this is real. Like we're on the race right now. Like,
Go! Here we go. Let's go. London, here we go.
We have been to London before, so we have some bearing of where things are.
Amazing Race 33, season 33, here we come. Team Detroit.
Woo! Detroit.
And then I think I got really real when we saw the other teams in London and we were all like running to the taxis. And then it's like, that's when like he's saying like your adrenaline is so high and you're just like, you just want to make it through the leg without being eliminated.
And the first leg was not big. There was a lot of running in the first leg. We didn't realize, okay, the first leg, we have so much of running to do. So it started off, and it was a night episode. So we started around 4:00 or 4:30 in the evening. So that's one of the very few times we actually raced during the evening.
Yeah, and now I think that leads me into my next question of, by the end of the night of each leg, how were you feeling? Like, what was your fatigue level like? And I had seen something where you had to camp outside and then you guys got to sit around a campfire or something like that. So I guess sleeping in a tent, how would you feel on that basically, right?
So
go ahead.
Go ahead, Nat.
After that London leg, I think none of the teams were expecting how much we were going to run. So we were all so sore the next day. Like we didn't realize we're like already sore after the first leg. And that like once you finish a leg, your adrenaline still stays really high and eventually it crashes. But it's just like that just high adrenaline even after you ended the leg. And that was our first leg. So we're like, whoa, we just survived the first leg on this race and it felt really good.
It's crazy, right? Like, does it look easier on TV than being on the actual show?
It's 100 times easier sitting on the couch.
Really?
what you mean when you look at somebody making, oh God, how stupid can be that they couldn't see the clue. Because when you have a different mindset, when you're stressed, you're looking at things differently. You have a tunnel vision, or you're not looking at other things. So it's probably 100 times more difficult.
I mean, I'm sure that's what everyone would expect. It looks easy, and then they go do it if they get the chance to, and they're like, oh, okay, this is what we're actually doing, right? Now, was there any struggle? I mean, you guys did pretty well in the first leg of the race. Was there any struggle that you guys had that maybe the cameras didn't pick up, or even after the leg, what was the strategy that you guys had talked about?
It was funny because watching it back, we didn't realize that we actually got from our taxi to the first thing, which was the phone booths, in 9th place. And so that had already like put us in the back just from our taxi.
Travel on foot to Buckingham Palace and find your clue next to Canada Gate.
And so starting that first leg, we were already at the back of the pack. But I think from there, it was just, the detour choice you made. And we chose the puzzle, the painting. And that was the wrong choice because it seemed like the other detour, the digi-bend was actually faster, even though it was like running around and finding different spots. So it's like goes all back to your choices that you're making on those detours and roadblocks.
Yeah, we're going to do artist done.
Artist done, okay.
Okay. Oh, here it is.
Thank you.
Okay. I guess we just have to put it in a puzzle together and then put it up. Hopefully, we're praying that we're doing it the right direction. Wait, check?
Check.
Yeah, I'm happy with that. That's looking great.
You done well. Thank you. Thank you.
Oh my God. Let's take a taxi.
Ben, do you have any questions?
I do want to add in Amazing Race being way harder than it looks, sitting on the couch. I had an experience like that just last month when I was in a haunted tunnel.
Okay.
Literally, when I was sitting on my couch watching it, I was like, this looks easy. Like, I could probably just go all the way down. And then I went into it, and it's like you feel like someone's behind you. Like, you get, as soon as I felt that someone was behind me, I was like, okay, this is really scary. Like, this is 100 times scarier than it seems.
Cameras don't pick up feelings or emotions as much as what's going through your mind during the event, right? It mentally drains you, I feel like. Is that correct?
Yeah, it's very stressful. I mean, physically, mentally, emotionally, it's so difficult on some legs, especially because if you've gone through a rough leg, then your whole night you're thinking about when you're sleeping, like, okay, you can't sleep because you're always thinking about what you did in the leg.
Now, I realized the other day that I had actually missed the first 2 episodes of the show. And so Natalia, Arun, traveling from the first leg of the race to the second, how did you get there?
We had to go by. Sorry, go ahead, Nat.
No, go ahead.
We had to travel from London to Scotland by train. So it was an overnight 6 or 8 hour train thing to Scotland. And then we started at leg 3 in Scotland.
Ooh, this is nice.
This is comfortable here.
So the first 2 episodes were filmed in London. Is that correct? Okay. So then I guess we'll jump back a little bit then. You guys had picked the Bullseye challenge, and I had just finished watching the clips earlier today from that. What was that like? It looked like a difficult challenge.
Yeah, we didn't know if we were going to get it. And it actually seemed like we were there longer than we were. We actually ended up getting it pretty quick. I think Sam and Connie had come after us. They got it, and then we got it right after them. But it was really it was hard because we had to get the bullseye in the same round. So I would keep getting a bullseye, but he wouldn't get in the same round, or he would get it and I wouldn't get it. So that, I think, was the hardest part of it, but we ended up getting it. And so I think that was the one we did make the right detour choice.
I'm sorry?
Oh, the bullseye.
What are you guys doing?
Cake. Oh,
okay. Good luck. Hope you don't find it.
Let's do this.
You can do it, man. Don't overthink, okay?
Oh, God.
You'll get it, okay?
Need another sip of beer. Good job. That circle is very small.
Yeah, good job. Come on, Arun.
You got this.
You got this one, Dad. You got this. So.
Oh.
Yes! Good job, good job, good job.
You guys ended up placing third out of that entire leg. Now, something I wanted to ask is, watching back on the episodes, is there anything that you regret of like wishing you switched, or are you guys glad that, I know when you guys had discussed, should we switch the roadblock, are you guys glad that you guys stayed?
Do you think we should switch the other detour?
No.
We were talking about the Scotland or
just in general.
Yeah, no, the Scotland, we made the biggest mistake. That's why that's a mistake which we regret till today. Is we came to the whiskey barrel challenge. We were in the fifth position or something. I think fifth or sixth, somewhere there, and we were doing good. And after 5-10 minutes, we decided to go do the other challenge, the singing and dancing. Donald, where's your trousers? And that was not.
Yeah.
We didn't make a good decision of switching.
Kilt or rebuilt? Okay, let's do the other one because you're not good at singing and dancing. Do you want to switch detours? I don't think we're gonna get this.
I won't be able to memorize this one.
I think we should switch. I think you can do the song and dance.
Okay.
What do you think?
Let's go there.
Switching?
Yeah. This is not what we expected, and I'm so confused now. So I just want to go out and try to do the other one. At least her strength is dancing and singing. I don't know. I'll somehow manage.
Yeah. So that leads me to my next. You guys ended up placing 10th out of the 10 teams that were left in that episode. And getting eliminated, but thankfully it was a non-elimination round. So what was going through your mind during the kilt challenge and stuff?
Yeah, because we had left, and then we thought when we got to the kilt challenge, because you still had to navigate to this other detour, so that took time. So we're like, okay, we're probably in last, and so we started the kilt. We're just trying to get through it, and then suddenly all these teams are starting to come in, and so we're like, whoa, like we're still in this, like there's still a chance.
Let the winds blow high, let the winds blow low. How it has to go that fast?
Yeah.
Cause I didn't have on my
trousers. There's another team, Dad. Hi guys.
I didn't have my trousers.
Cause I didn't have on my trousers.
Did not have on my trousers. Okay.
And so that gave us a little bit of hope, but it was a struggle to get through that. And eventually, I was proud of my dad though for making it through that, because English isn't his first language and he is not the best singer in the world. So I think was really proud of him for getting through that. And we did obviously get eliminated that leg, but I think the world couldn't have had Donald, where's your trousers?
Ladies say hello, Donald, where's your trousers?
You have to check what you need to do, so you both need to be joining in the choruses.
Yeah, were you not singing?
Yeah. Because I didn't have on my trousers.
It was slippery in the hall.
Oh, right? Worst nightmare, singing and dancing. Are you freaking kidding me?
Donald, where's your trousers? Donald, where's your trousers?
Yeah!
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Sorry, correct me. That wasn't a non-elimination round, was it?
No, we got eliminated. So we did get eliminated.
Okay.
And then
you guys came back.
Back because of COVID. So the most important, you have to make the right decision. So if you're going to make the change in your decision, take some time to make the decision. That's very important. And then singing and dancing was my weakest. In the race bio, it says what's your weakest thing. Singing and dancing, and Natalia's was navigation. So I try to do my best. And
I mean, you pushed through it. You guys continued, didn't give up, and unfortunately, you guys got eliminated, but then good that you guys got called back. I mean, that leads me to my next question of, from what I understand, and correct me if I'm wrong, you guys don't know the full details of a roadblock until you choose who's going to do it. Is that correct?
Yeah, so it's just kind of a brief statement, and you get a kind of an idea of what it is, but sometimes it could be misleading and be totally opposite of what you think it is. But based on whatever that line is, like for instance, the bungee jumping, it was like, who wants to get down? or something like that. So I thought it was dancing. So that's why I was like, no
Okay.
way he's gonna do it. Like, I'll do it because you're not doing a dancing, and it ended up being bungee jumping. So you
Yeah.
just have to, sometimes you can see the surroundings, so you can hear like music or see the rowboats to
Okay.
see if it's like a rowing thing. So you have to
Okay.
use all those context clues when making your decision.
Yeah. So then I was gonna ask, what's your strategy in deciding who's gonna do what roadblock? Like, if you are unsure about it, and for example, I would say, would you use, or would Arun do the first one if you needed to pick something up in the second roadblock, or vice versa?
So what we had decided is that most of the physical challenges I would do, and Natalia would do anything with smarts, creative, singing and dancing and things like that. We also had decided we would alternate, because one member can only do so many roadblocks. It's
Correct.
not like I can do all the things. So we had decided that was a strategy with us.
I think I read that somewhere in leg 8 and 10, there was something with the person who sat out in the first roadblock had to do the second one. I think I
Because
read that somewhere. Yeah.
Some episodes had 2 roadblocks. So in that case, the one has to, I mean, whoever does the first one cannot do the second one.
Okay, yeah. Then I think I'm missing something. I maybe jumped a little ahead or something.
Take your time.
But you guys had that very big hike that you had to do. I think you did that. Is that correct, Arun?
Yeah, I did the Alps, the Santas thing, where you go to, it's basically you go down the mountain and you go to a spot where you can see the 6 countries, and then you have to climb back. So that was a pretty physical task. So you have to be fit to do the task.
Yeah.
That was that was in Switzerland.
Heights, you.
Have me.
Okay.
How do I go? Here?
Where's the flag?
I thought there's a way out. I didn't know we had to come back.
I guess I did.
You're the Amazing Race.
And I was going to ask, what was it like learning other traditions or things that you wouldn't regularly do? Like, you had the flag dance, was it? Or
Yeah.
and a lot of the other, I know you did pretty well in the sausage making, and just things that you wouldn't regularly do or didn't know that you were going to have to do.
Yeah, like the maggot cheese was interesting, getting to try the delicacy. And honestly, when we first were eating it, I didn't even realize the maggots were like alive and that when we were eating it, but it is a delicacy. So,
But it's maggots time. No, it's not bugs. Yep.
learning about these like different traditions and like the souvlaki, we got to try the souvlaki
But
ingredients.
one thing was must see, rock out eating souvlaki.
Oh, look at the animal. I'm a savage.
This was really delicious.
Yeah.
I had personally not had souvlaki before, so
Oh, really?
So like learning about that and trying that, just being immersed. That's one of the reasons we went on the show, is to embrace all these new cultures and learn about them.
Yeah. Ben, what do you think?
I'm just listening, I think it's good. I think this is so cool to like see a person's perspective of, being on a reality TV show. I really like to hear stuff like that. Because they definitely have a whole story to it.
Okay, so something we didn't talk about much was the fact that you guys had to basically go home because of COVID. You guys had been eliminated at that point, but when you received the phone call to come back, what was the strategy going back into it?
We are so pumped and excited to be back.
This is the first time in race history, that eliminated team gets to continue racing in the same race.
Come on, Nat, show some excitement.
Yeah, so during the 19 months since we had been eliminated, we had no idea that we were going to go back. So we were not preparing at all because we thought, oh, we're eliminated.
Yeah.
And then I think it was like 6 weeks before we restarted, we got a call and they were like, oh, we might bring you back to be like at like the pit stops or to be like a greeter. And we're like, that's kind of weird, but okay. And they were just I think at the time trying to gauge our availability, but
Makes sense.
like 5 weeks before, they're like officially like, okay, you guys are back on the show. And we're like, oh no, we got to get into prep mode again and start packing again. So we didn't have like the other teams, they had that 19 months where they were prepping, like training. We didn't have that much time. And so we were spending those couple weeks before we left again, just practicing navigation, dancing, studying maps, like capitals, things like that.
Now, is something I had noticed that there was actually a speed bump that wasn't aired that you guys had to do basically as a punishment for coming back. Is that correct?
Yeah, that's right. It was called Cabbage Bowling, where one of us had to get into the cabbage, and you cannot see where you're going, and the other person will direct you. So I was inside the cabbage, and Natalia was directing me, and we had to. It was basically knock down some pins, hay bales. So that's basically what it was. It was an exciting. I wish they had aired it. Do you say that it would have been good TV?
Yeah, it was, because from the time we restarted at that starting line, Phil looked at Mike and Mo and us and was like, you need to fight your way back into this race. Like, you will have an extra challenge. So we knew, okay, it's like between Mike and Mo and us at this point, because we have like this, our two teams have this extra challenge. So I think we really gave our soul in doing that like speed bump. So
there was an article that apparently Mike and Mo had talked on that was the reason why they had gotten eliminated again. But not a lot of people knew that because they didn't air that. Is there a reason why they didn't show that speed bump?
I think it's because it's only 42 minutes or whatever it is. So it depends on how much they have to show. And that particular episode, they also had to bring the team backs and talk about the COVID and things like that. So they had to cut it short, and that's the reason they were not able to. Show it.
Yeah, it was just cool finding. I had no idea until I had read up on it that there was from what the article said, that I think it was titled "Extra Speed Bump Involving Gigantic Cabbage." I think that's what it was titled, and I'm like, I don't know about this. Let me read more about it, right? So yeah, and then something I wanted to ask: did the teams know that you guys were coming back, or was it not until you guys had showed up?
Yeah, they knew at the starting line and a little bit before that, because we all kind of flew together. And so they knew, they were aware of that we were going to come back.
Okay.
Switzerland restarts, 7 teams took part.
So and then you guys flew privately, and they had the cars already set up throughout all the legs and stuff, that there was no public transportation, right? What was different between the first few episodes pre-COVID and then during COVID when you guys went back to film?
Yeah, for us, well, that second leg in London, we were able to take a taxi around, so you didn't have to self-navigate. So that was one of the factors. You know, we went from 9th to 3rd place that second leg. Now they're like, okay, you're going to be self-driving almost every leg, and that's one of our weaknesses. So it was kind of like, okay, great, every leg we're going to have the thing we're the most weak at. So that was kind of like, okay, we really need to fight each leg now. And you're also in the countryside, more rural areas than these city centers. So now with COVID time, like approaching people to get directions and things like that, people might not be as like open to like people like running up to them with 2 camera people during kind of like COVID time. So those were new aspects that we had to deal with.
And also we had to get COVID tested every other day. So there was a break in the race every other day.
Okay, yeah. Now I think I want to jump ahead. Ben, do you have anything to say, or no? Are you still listening?
No, I'm just still listening.
All right. I think I want to jump ahead and kind of just get into more specific things and involving the roadblocks. So I wanted to start with your bungee jumping experience when you arrived after you reading, what was it called? Who Wants to Get Down?
Yeah, exactly.
What went through your mind there? And you said that you thought it was dancing, and when you arrived and you saw it was bungee jumping, what was going through your mind?
Oh, Valley Versace! Valley Versace right there! Oh, whew.
I just saw the dam.
Oh, thank the Lord.
Oh, finally made it, but only 2.5 hours late.
I was actually really excited when I saw it was bungee jumping, because the one thing I said I want to do on the Amazing Race was bungee jumping, and I've never done it before. I'd gone skydiving before, but I love like all the adrenaline kind of tasks. So it was like waiting for one because the first 3 legs we didn't get to do anything kind of like really high adrenaline in terms of tasks. So I was excited, but we had gotten lost along the way there. So some of the excitement had gone down. So when we eventually got to the bungee jump, I was like, let me jump off of this. I was like ready.
Just ready to do it. Like, let's just get out of here. Let's get to the finish line and
exactly.
Don't be eliminated, basically, right?
3, 2, 1, go!
Holy mackerel! Good job, Natalia! Wow! Wow, that was crazy. Natalia, good job!
She was the only one who did it with a smile, and it's like she was smiling all the way jumping. And that jump, it's like 800 feet down, and you are literally jumping right next to the damn cement wall. So it's a very, very scary jump.
My family and I were having the debate, could you pay us to do that, right? And we were kind of like, I feel like I could. And then my mom on her side, she's like, no, you couldn't make me do that. Like, I wouldn't do that. I'd rather take the penalty, which is like 4 hours, than jumping off of that.
So you will give up $1 million and take a 4-hour penalty and you cannot jump, then don't go on the race.
Right? I mean, no, you're right. And I feel it's strategy too. Are you committed to do everything that you are given, basically, right?
Because you have to get out of your comfort zone, especially in races like this. And I was so mad that she got to do it and I didn't get to do it because I wanted to do it, but we had already decided that she would do it.
Yeah. Now, sorry, go ahead, Ben.
I would totally do it. I jumped off 850 or something like that, 50-foot stratosphere tower in Vegas. So,
wow.
I've done something like that, but yeah, I would totally bungee jump.
Yeah, I think I would want to. I think it'd be just like, let's just do it, and then now you can say that you've done it, right?
Yes.
Yeah. Now we won't talk much about it, but then there was one challenge where you guys there was like 1,000 stairs you had to walk up while carrying wine bottles and what were they? Were they acorns or?
Yeah, so we had the chestnuts, I think. We didn't do that one. We actually did the sausage. So
okay, that was the same episode. Okay.
Do the sausage in case.
Yeah.
Patience. Okay.
Perfecto.
Yay!
And you guys did pretty well at that.
Yeah. I was happy that because we heard from the other teams about the stairs, and they're like, yeah, we had to climb up all these stairs, but until we saw it back on TV, I was like, I'm so glad we did not pick that because it looked terrible, and the sausage was definitely the faster detour in that leg.
Arun, you did pretty well with that. How was that?
Which one? The sausage thing?
Correct. Yeah.
Yeah, I work in the food industry, so we both of us do cooking, so we were pretty comfortable doing the sausage thing. So as long as you pay attention to the demonstration, you're good. You have to pay attention to how they make it, and we got it done pretty quick. I think we got it done on the second try.
So that's that was the 5th episode, and you guys were still in Switzerland at that time. Then you went to France, correct? And that's where the maggots came in. Do you want to talk about that?
The maggots was amazing. Once you're going on an amazing race, eating maggot cheese is the easiest stuff, because in the past seasons, people have had to eat brain. They have had to eat like 3 pounds of raw meat and things like that. So the piece of maggot cheese, it was easy for me, at least.
It was easy for me too. Well, I didn't realize they were alive. That's the thing. I was just like, just scarf it down. I think the worst part was our mouths were just so dry because they didn't give us water or like anything to drink. So I think that was actually the worst part.
Because you had to run up the mountain to get, so it was a pretty steep climb. So you were dry, your mouth was dry once you got to the cheese eating challenge.
Yeah. No, I'm sorry. I want to back it up a little bit. I had missed we were just talking about the last leg. That was the second time that you guys had placed sixth out of the 6 teams that were left. And that was your first non-elimination round, correct?
That's
what
correct.
Right.
Talk about that and what was going through your minds before, like, obviously you guys knew that you were last place, you arrived, and he said that you guys have been eliminated, and then he told you the good news that it was a non-elimination round. What happens then?
Hey, Phil.
Arun and Natalia, you're a little late. In fact, so late that our greeter had to go.
Oh no.
So I am sorry to tell you that you're the last team to arrive. Second time back, you've been eliminated once before.
It doesn't feel good.
And now you're last again.
Right.
Well, I'm pleased to tell you this is a non-elimination leg.
Thank you.
And you do have one more shot.
Oh, God.
We just said, oh, we survived one more time. Luck is on our side. And we said, okay, we need to change our strategy. We need to fight hard because the next episode we knew is going to be an elimination. So we couldn't finish last. And we made a promise to Phil that we are not going to be the last team in the next leg.
Now, I wanted to ask about Phil. And is he that nice in person than he is on camera? Or like, and I overheard from another podcast I was listening to, I think it was Kim and Penn's, that he would interact with you guys on the planes and the train and stuff like that.
Yeah, he has so many like stories that he's sharing with us. I think he's like even more charismatic in person, and just being a fan of the show, just casually chat with him, hear he has like all these crazy like adventure stories and things like that. Just hearing kind of even the behind the scene details of some of the past seasons of Amazing Race. I think we were all geeking out a little bit over that.
This is the season where we were all on the same flight. So we had a little bit more time to interact with him. So normally during other seasons, you don't, Phil is on a different, they're ahead of an earlier flight or whatever it is. So we had a little bit more time to interact with him.
Yeah. Now, correct me if I'm wrong, and I'm sure you guys have seen way more than I have of previous seasons. Previous seasons have consist of you go to the airport and whatever the next flight is what you're on, right? So if you miss a flight, then you're waiting for the next one. Is that correct?
You have to
change. Yeah, over the years, like previous, like very early seasons, you could like actually choose your own flight. And so that was like a big strategy of the race, is like getting the quicker flights. But towards like more the recent seasons, just to keep everyone together, they have more like equalizers at the airport. So they're like booking like 1 or 2 flights for you to get on, which kind of changed. And for us, like the one charter plane.
And do you think it was better flying private than flying public transportation, and then getting to interact with all the other contestants and stuff?
In terms of like comfort, yes, there was a lot of leg room. It's really nice on the plane, but I would have actually preferred the commercial, because normal season you have time at the airport to like research, or you actually know what country you're going to. And I think that was a disadvantage of us flying on the chartered, is we didn't have that time at the airport to go like research, like here's the top food specialties in this country, or here's what the flag looks like, because we never had that airport time.
Yeah, so you were in France in the 7th episode, and that's when row your boat or gently down the stream roadblock came in. And Arun, you did that. How was that? It looked pretty fun. Was it, or was it difficult?
The row, that was the 10th episode. Are you talking about, or you're talking about that is the one way you have to spot the fish you're talking about. We did it together. That was a detour. We did it with Lulu and Lala. That was
I think that was a different one. The one where you had to jump into
the canyoneering in Corsica.
And you had to look for something on your way, and if you missed it,
you had to find the clue. So that was a lot of fun. Meaning, I wanted to do all these physical challenges, so that was one of the things I will always remember. That was a fun ride, the canyoneering. You had to jump off the boulders and go inside the caves and things like that.
No, yeah. And now that ended up being another non-elimination round for you guys, placing 5th out of the 5 teams.
I think we came 4th that leg. Yeah. So we had actually made up time that
Generally down the stream is different. Yeah, that is, so you're talking about 2 different episodes. The canyoneering was, we made up time there, but generally down the stream, yes, we did finish behind Lulu and Lala, and that was a non-elimination round too.
Okay, yeah. Okay, yeah, that's my bad. I must be reading it wrong then. Yeah. Did you? So you obviously knew you were looking for something. Do you know what would happen if you didn't find it?
You had to redo the whole thing.
Really? Yeah?
Then you have no hope of you definitely, because the whole thing took about 45 minutes to an hour to do the whole the thing. So if you had to redo it, first of all, it was a physical task. You had to climb up the mountain, then go down the river, the stream. So if you miss the clue, then you basically are done.
Mm-hmm. Now, Natalia, I wanted to ask you, and I'm sure you experienced this as well. During some of those roadblocks, you guys were nowhere near each other.
Yeah. I couldn't see him at all. It was funny because a lot of the roadblocks I did, he could watch me, but most of the roadblocks he did, I couldn't see him. So I think it's worse when you can't see them because you don't know, like, are they making progress? Like that canyoneering one, I'm like, oh no, like, did he miss the clue or not? Like, I have no idea until he comes up. So anytime we hear noises of the canyoneering one, we're like, oh, somebody's coming. Like, who's it going to be? So yeah, it's a little bit more like you just have no idea what's going on.
And it's kind of like, this is my partner coming, and you find out it's not, and you're like, oh, okay. Like, now I got to wait longer, right? All right, you guys go. We'll see you guys at the end, right? Basically like that. Yeah. Then you traveled from France to Greece. And there was no detour in that, was there?
Which leg? The Greece leg you're talking about?
Yeah, it would have been episode 8, France to Greece.
Yeah, so that one, there was no detour. We had to do the 2 roadblocks. The first was rolling the Dolmales, and then the second roadblock was the Saints. And so you had to listen to the lecture, and then you had to the 5 Saints.
That was a difficult one. It looked like it from being on. I don't think I could have ever got that one. I wouldn't have known what I was looking for, and he
was going on, and we're like, what is going on? But I had actually went and listened to the questions, and so when I came back, I knew exactly what I was listening for. So I was just listening for those 5 facts, which I think made it a little bit easier.
Yeah. Now, something I had asked, or I had thought while watching that episode, was when you arrived to listen to him, he was already halfway through another team listening. Does he restart, or do you just like continue from where he is and then have to wait to hear the first half of it again?
Yeah, I just continued from where he was at, and that's why after like a couple of minutes, I'm like, okay, like I'm gonna have to listen to this anyways again. Let me go listen to the questions. So I think Ryan had ran off, so I'm like, let me just go run off, and then when I came back, I was able to listen from the beginning on the second time.
There was I think from what I've seen, or if I may be wrong, but Ryan heard like the first part of it and then ran to go do the questions, and then did it and got it wrong. He came back and then did the exact same thing, and he was halfway running back. He's like, "Oh, there's more, right?"
Right. Yeah. I think Kayla had said something, so he was like, "Oh, wait, there's more," and then he came back. So he was gonna do the same thing he did the first time, but yeah.
Now then after that, it came the bring 'em or break it with the plates. And now that, from what I heard from everyone talking about, that was probably the easiest challenge there was, right? Like you just get to get all the stress out and by smashing plates, and all you have to do is just look for the clue, right?
That's the episode where we had to turn over 5,000 stones to find the gold coin. So people were so stressed out by that time, they just wanted to take out their frustration by breaking plates. So
it was afterwards, correct? Yeah.
That was more of a stress reliever. So everybody had fun. Music was playing. So that was fun doing it.
Yeah. So now let's talk about that, because I feel like that was probably the worst challenge out of the whole thing. It was hours you were there searching for rocks, right? I'm sure hot weather, wasn't comfortable being on your hands and knees the entire time, right? Natalia, you're sitting off to the side just watching all of them struggle, and you guys can't talk to each other. You can't help each other, right?
And it's just, you feel hopeless. Such a vast amount of stones to turn over, and just after every one, my gloves are tearing, my knees are bleeding.
This is like watching a horror movie.
I know.
I swear to God, I've been through every section.
Me too.
And I've touched every rock.
Arun, once you found out what you were doing, did you have a strategy or anything like that going into it? Or was it just, I'm just going to start flipping rocks and trying to find it?
No, I did have a strategy going into it. So I said, I'll start with the outer circle and work myself into the inner circle. But the strategy had to change. It was because once I was going, there was already another team, team which was looking, so I couldn't just go into their lane. So the strategy had to change because there were already teams in there. So then at that moment, you were just looking for the coin wherever you could.
Yeah. Now, was that the episode that you guys had been eliminated, or was there still one more after?
No,
there was still one more in Portugal after that.
What was the last? Oh, the where you had to count the columns. Is that correct?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Yeah. I forget. Natalia, did you do that one?
I did that one. Yeah. So this was another 2 roadblocks. So the first roadblock was you had to find the Portuguese explorer on the back, which my dad did. And then
before we talk about the columns, Arun, I want to talk about that and your entire struggle, basically trying to row the boat, right? And I mean, you caught up pretty fast and was able to complete it. But what was going through your mind during that?
No, it doesn't matter if I got it too late. So those are the things, like when you are given an opportunity, that was my moment to shine, correct? That if I do well, we go to the finale and anything can happen. Yeah. So that was my moment to shine, and I literally choked. I mean, I just couldn't get the hang of rowing, and that's how we got eliminated. So
I'm not too sure how to row this boat. Just going in circles. I mean, I really suck.
Yeah, I don't think rowing is my dad's thing. I'm sending my good vibes over to him right now.
I'm struggling with myself.
The future, lessons to people, future racers is that learn how to row, how to try stick shift, know your maps and things like that, which is very key when it comes to Amazing Race.
Yeah, and I mean, challenges like that aren't easy, right? If you've never done it before or never have thought that you were ever going to do it in your life, and then you have to do it, it's going to be difficult, right? Forget what her name was, but she was afraid of heights, right? And so all the challenges that involved heights she had to do, right? And so if you're not prepared for that, it's going to take you a little bit longer to do it, right? Yeah. So then moving on to the columns, it was a far distance you had to look. Then it was a far run that you had to do. And if you get it wrong, you have to run back and do it all again, right?
Right. Yeah. As you saw Penn, he was making it kind of like a marathon. He was just running back and forth. But at that point when we got there, I knew we were in last. So I think maybe I was a little bit less nervous, but I just took my time and counted them. And I think I was like focusing on the arches of the column. So further down, I was able to some of the columns blended together, but you could more clearly see the arches.
Yeah, I feel like watching the episodes, there's some strategies now that I would say to myself, okay, this is what I probably would have done, right? But I mean, in the moment, you lose track, and I saw some strategies like you count by 20 and then you restart, right? And then like Penn, I think Penn was just going straight. Like Penn didn't really have a strategy of how to keep track of how many he was counting, right?
No, but he couldn't see.
Exactly. Yeah.
His eyesight, so he was just doing a guessing game.
Knowing that I had to hurry, but those arches really blurry. 7 times I had to run. Kayla got it on guess one.
Exactly. So then there was like Raquel and Kayla, who I'm pretty sure got it on their first try because they had counted 20 and then stopped and recounted again, right? So if you can kind of see that and kind of get the hang of it, right? So that led you guys into ending up getting eliminated, and it sucks. It was one episode left, basically, right? What what happened after off camera?
Yeah, and as fans of the show, we were happy that we had raced like all the international legs at least. So we had made it, like racing all the international in all the countries. And then from there, the teams are then flying to LA. So on that plane, you see all the teams. Phil's giving me the little spiel. We're ducking behind a seat. We're actually on the same plane.
Okay.
So we're flying with those teams as well. And so then we end up going to LA and meeting up with the other eliminated teams the night before the finale. And so it was nice. We got to catch up. They didn't know who was coming, who's going to be the last eliminated team. Then they saw us. And from that, we had a little pool party outside while Kayla, Raquel, Kim and Penn, and Dusty and Ryan are prepping for their final day. The next day, we could see them from our pool party. They were up in the hotel windows. And we were just like, we're like, we have no idea what's going through their heads right now.
Yeah.
But yeah.
No, Ben, I just realized that it's been a while since you've said anything, and that's probably a lot to listen to. What are you thinking right now?
I think this is super cool. I mean, I don't know if I would be on Amazing Race, but I'm down to be on some type of reality show.
Now, after you guys had been eliminated, did you have any? Was there one specific team that you were cheering for, or was it just whatever happens, whatever happens?
I think, and Phil had asked this is actually on the mat when we got eliminated. I had said Raquel and Kayla because I was rooting for the all-female team to win. It had been a while. But Kim and Penn had just been they're super fans of the show. They literally killed it each leg. So we had a feeling that it would probably be the strong team to win. I think, Dad, you were rooting for Kim and Penn.
No, if people ask me who's going to win, and I said Kim and Penn, just because after COVID, they really had more time to prepare and they were a well-rounded team. If you were to say who you wanted, I would have said Raquel and Kayla, but I knew that Kim and Penn were going to win.
Yeah. Now I want to say my end of who I was cheering for Raquel and Kayla, but I felt with Kim and Penn how consistent they were with posting their podcast, and I feel like they were giving little hints away, right? That they had won, right? They were the first team to start their podcast. They consistently did every episode, and they were so many details, right? So I feel like they were giving little hints away that they had won it. And that was just my opinion. Now, you guys hadn't seen any of the final episode, is that correct? Was it until the watch party that you guys had seen it?
Yeah, so any episode, we're watching it live with everyone else. We don't get to see the episodes before they air. So every episode we're watching it live, even the final one. Yeah, so we didn't get to live that one. So
that's what I mean. Yeah.
Oh yeah. We had heard about it from the other teams, what they did, and then obviously we were at the final, the finish line that day. But it was nice to watch it back and actually see kind of the tasks that they went through. I think the Foley one was super cool, where they got to do the sounds. With
and they were good at that, right? With Penn knowing all of his YouTube little tricks and stuff, he knew what he was doing, right? So I feel like the fact that Kayla and Raquel were able to get out of there as quickly as they can, and then everyone struggled with the coin at the very end, right? But as quickly as they were able to, they were doing fantastic. But Kim and Penn just quickly went through there, and then Kim had all of her notes, right? And that's what ended up making them win.
All our memory from all the things we've done and seen. Kinda knew that this was last, but we took notes, so we were fast. Yo, game, set, match. Running down the tunnel and then running through the fog into the finish line. It's the end of the show, and we won it.
So now I basically want to talk about post Amazing Race, basically, right? Now you guys are back to living your normal lives, and what is it like? Like, do you have people coming up to see you, Arun? People coming to see you at the restaurant? What is it like now?
We do get recognized randomly here and there, and people say, hey, well, can we take pictures or whatever it is? But other than that, it's been pretty normal. We have a lot of family and friends who have watched it, so at work and things like that. So we're basically back to normal life.
Back to the grind.
Yeah.
15 minutes of fame is over.
Now, Ben's and my whole goal of this podcast is to inspire others to follow their dreams by demonstrating what our guests and ourselves have been doing. What's some advice that you would give for either someone wanting to do something like what you guys had done, or just having a dream and wanting to tackle it, basically?
No, I can start this off because I'm an immigrant to this country. I came to this country about 30 years ago, had to work hard for everything what I have in my life. And at my age, for me to make it on the race with my daughter and run the race is the most amazing thing you could ever. So age is just a number. If you have the right attitude and you want to be on the race, you could be on the race. So never give up. So if you want to do something, do it.
That's awesome. Natalia, what about you? Are you basically on the same boat as your dad?
Yeah, I think just making sure you take that first step. So like back to like even just applying, like putting yourself out there. If you get too comfortable, like willing to take that risk, and like just like making sure that your dreams do scare you, that you're thinking big and you're aspiring to take risks in your life. And so, yeah, anyone who wants to be on reality show, like apply. And what they're looking for is just being your authentic self. You don't need to create a gimmick. You just have to be your authentic self. And that's what they're looking for.
Yeah, Ben, what do you think? You agree with them? I feel like that's our whole thing, right?
Yeah, that's pretty solid.
Was there anything else that you guys wanted to talk about, or no?
I think you covered most of it.
Yeah. And you guys said that you guys would definitely go back on if they ever call you, right?
Any day.
Awesome. Well, yeah, go ahead.
My advice to you guys is, if you get on the race, you will do things which is not in your comfort zone. That's just, if you really want it, you'll do it. So you will do the bungee jumping, wherever it is, you'll eat whatever it is, because your goal, if your goal is to win the race, then you'll just do it. That's just, that's what I am saying. So if you put your mind to it, you can do it.
Awesome. Yeah. Natalia, anything else that you wanted to say?
No, just, yeah, if anyone has any questions or anything about applying, be on a reality show, they can always reach out to us, or even other questions.
And you guys can reach out to us anytime if you guys need anything, messages or whatever it is. You guys want us to come back later when you guys become more famous with your podcasts and things like that.
Thank you. Yeah.
Always.
Awesome. Well, all of your links will be in the description, and I appreciate you guys taking the time out of your days to come on our podcast. It was absolutely amazing. Ben, I think you had probably the same amount of fun that I did.
Yeah.
I wouldn't have imagined that, and as I'm writing my book right now, I wouldn't have imagined that some of the things I've done within the past few months is something I would have ever accomplished in life. Even talking to you guys, like it's basically a dream come true. So I really thank you guys for coming on, and I will talk to you guys in the future. And everyone else, hope you guys are staying safe, and we'll see you guys in the next episode. All right.
Nice talking to you guys. Bye.
You too. Bye-bye.
Bye.